Anyway, Pickle 716 Texas high school football games scattered hither and yon across the state in Week 5 of the 2022 Texas high school football season. And look, there are big games everywhere. And I do mean everywhere. Like, every corner of the state has some bangers this week. Like, I say that usually, and usually I'm lying to you. That's not true. But I really mean it this week, that there's just a ton of really good games in every region of the state. And so it's hard to narrow it down to the top 10 games of the week. But that's what we do here. We do the hard things.
Yes.
Without further ado, the top 10 Texas high school football games of the week. We will start in the middle with that big one. 7:30 p.m. Friday night from Austin. Live on TexanLive.com.
Let's go.
The number one team in the land, the Austin Westlake Chaparrals, the three-time defending 6A champs, take on their arch rival, the Lake Travis Cavaliers. We talked about this with Craig Way a little bit on Tuesday. And about how this game seems to have a little bit less punch, a little bit less buzz this year. I think a lot of it has to do with Lake Travis losing those first two games and probably the injury to Bo Edmondson pictured. Yeah, from what we understand, from what Craig reported, he said that he's feeling better. We don't know if he's going to play. I think Caden Leone has actually acquitted himself pretty well as an assist as the backup, and they're running the ball very well with Nico Hamilton. They are going into the Hornets' nest, though. Where do Chaparrals live? In the Chaparrals Cove. I feel
like, maybe, I don't know, do they
like
dig
a cave,
holes or something?
like a cave of some kind. Anyway, that's where they're going to take on Westlake, and Westlake looks pretty invincible, maybe outside of a couple of the very, very top teams. But this game tends to provide strange what's the word I'm looking for? Results. Strange, unexpected results. So we'll certainly keep our eye on it there. 7:30 p.m. tomorrow night in Austin as Westlake and Lake Travis go to the Battle of the Lakes live on TexanLive.com where you can watch them. Let's bounce over to East Texas, 7:30 p.m. Friday night in Longview. The number one team in the 5A Division I ranks, the Longview Lobos, take on the Lancaster Tigers. This game fascinates me. Mm-hmm. This Lancaster team has been rolling. I mean, rolling. The way that they've been playing has been exceptional. Last week against McKinney North, they were basically unstoppable. And, Matt Stepp made a great point on Tep and Step. He said that that essentially their coach, Leon Paul, scheduled the game at Denton Geyer to really get them ready for the game at Longview to go on the road. And look, Denton Geyer's a top 5 6A team, right? They're a really good 6A team. And they put up a crooked number, right? Put up 43 points offensively on them. Longview is rolling right now. New Alabama commit Jalen Hale at the wide receiver spot. Running back Taylor Tatum. Of course, I think quarterback Jordan Allen has stepped up in a big way. And I think their defense is playing very well. This is a different test for Lancaster. We've heard some people from Lancaster who are mad they're not ranked. I'll tell you what. You guys beat Longview, let's talk. Then you'll be ranked.
The one thing I will be interested to see from the Longview perspective is I don't think that Jalen Hale has to play many people that can match his speed super well. And if anyone has the defensive backs to be able to at least keep up with him, I think it would be Lancaster.
Totally agree. I agree with you. It's a fascinating game. Excited to see it at 7:30 p.m. tomorrow night in Longview. Let's bounce to Saturday. 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon in Missouri City, the Mo City. Live on TexanLive.com.
Yeah.
The Fort Bend Marshall Buffaloes, number 3 in 5A Division II, open district play with the number 10 team in 5A Division II, the Port Neches Groves Indians, in a really interesting matchup for a number of reasons. One, both these teams have a loss. Fort Bend Marshall has that loss at Crosby in overtime, and then PNG has a loss in the opener to Port Arthur Memorial. But both have looked significantly better since then. Fort Bend Marshall last week went on the road to a 6A team and beat A-Leaf Taylor 47-0, right? PNG, I think, has really gotten their offense going with Coach Jeff Joseph. The other thing that's interesting about this is Fort Bend Marshall's first interesting district game in
forever.
Years. Because you remember in the last realignment, and maybe the realignment before that, They were in a mostly Houston ISD district where they were just
rolling people.
Crushing fools. I mean, crushing them.
Yeah, we really didn't get any pulse on them until like the area round of the playoffs. To
Absolutely.
be honest.
Yeah, and then last year you kind of saw it. They go 10-0, and they roll into the first round of the playoffs and lose to Barbers Hill. Like, this is going to be a real test for them. How far has this PNG offense come? Because this Fort Bend Marshall defense is playing very, very well. And then can this Fort Bend Marshall offense get out of first gear? That's the big question for me. Can the Marshall offense get out of first gear against PNG?
Well, and they're going to have to deal with some size, I think, like size and guys that like to hit that Marshall's not used to dealing with. So that offensive, like the game in the trenches will be interesting.
Yeah. 7 o'clock Friday in DeSoto. A top 25 matchup in Class 6A is the number 12 DeSoto Eagles welcome in the number 23 Waxahachie Indians. The fun here is how chippy this was last year and how chippy it has been for the past couple of years. These two teams don't like each other.
No.
And there's a lot of bad blood here between these two games. And I'm very excited to see how it all ends up playing out because this is a DeSoto team that, you know, DeSoto, Waxahachie looks like the new up-and-coming program, right, in 6A. And they get their chance at, you know, in a lot of ways, a team that's established. Waxahachie's been rolling offensively. They've been fantastic. Roderick Hartsfield Jr., their quarterback, they drilled Cedar Hill last week. DeSoto had no problem with Dallas Skyline last week. DJ Bailey, their quarterback, has been very, very strong. A lot of this comes down to quarterback play, and a lot of this I think comes down to who holds their nerve, who holds their their discipline, because there's going to be chirping on this game. These are two teams that do not like each other. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think at home, if this game went Waxahachie, I might lean towards Waxahachie, but I think at home, I think I like DeSoto.
If you are interested in like defensive, like just watching defenses operate, man, you will not find a better matchup of secondaries than you will in this one. They have, I mean, those are two elite secondaries, not only in the DFW, but really across the state. That'll be incredible. That's where my eyes go on this game. Yeah,
I think that you're exactly right. That's a really fascinating matchup there. 7:30 p.m. Friday night in Westbrook. I'm tired of putting Westbrook on this graphic too, guys.
But they scheduled like a crazy person.
7:30 p.m. Friday night in Westbrook. The number 1 team in 1A Division 1, the Westbrook Wildcats, welcome the number 9 team in 1A Division 1, the Garden City Bearcats. So let's run through what Westbrook's done this year, okay? They beat Happy. Happy's currently ranked number 6th in 181. They beat Jonesboro, presently ranked number 4 in 181. They beat Rankin, presently ranked number 5 in D1. Then they play Spur. That's the worst team they've played so far, and by the way, they beat them by 50. And then tonight, they play the number 9 team, or tomorrow night, they play the number 9 team in the state in their non-district finale. So we'll know all about Westbrook, and I got to be honest. If they win this game, and I tend to think that they're going to be favored, if they win this game, I don't know if there's anybody stopping them. I mean, now,
at that point, who haven't
they haven't played? They haven't played Abbott in May, who are 2-3. But that's like, okay, like Alabama, you haven't played Georgia and Ohio State, but you've crushed,
everyone.
Who's number 4? I don't know. Oklahoma. You beat Oklahoma, and then you beat, some other Penn State. I don't know. I'm picking a team at random. This is a ridiculous schedule, and one of the toughest non-district schedules we've ever seen. Now, Garden City's no slouch. They had the one loss last week, come off a loss at May, but that is the number 2 team in 1A Division 1. That probably doesn't bode well going on the road to Westbrook, but Garden City will certainly be tested. A lot of this comes down to whether or not the defense can stand up for Garden City, because this Westbrook offense with Cedric Ware has been exceptional.
I also think that they have fairly depth is used lightly here because it's 1A Division 1, but I do think out of 1A programs they do have the depth to be able to make it far. Yes. Like you're not biting your teeth going, if one person goes down, this whole season is shot.
They are deep by 1A standards.
Yes,
correct, exactly right. Huge game out there in Garden City. Can Westbrook finish off one of the most remarkable non-district runs ever? 7 o'clock Friday night in Dumas. A 3A versus 4A matchup between the Bushland Falcons and the Dumas Demons. And I'm not sure if anybody's really paying attention to Bushland, but I think this team's really good. Dawson Jaco, their quarterback, has stepped up in a huge way. I think he was their JV guy last year, and he stepped up in a huge way. Their pass rushes have been really good. They have been rolling past people. And you remember, this is the team that beat Canadian, and this is the team that followed that up with a win over Childress. They have been offensively a juggernaut, and the defense has been very good as well. Now they go on the road to Dumas. Dumas had a week 1 loss to Lubbock Cooper, but since then has been very strong. And their defense has been particularly excellent. And the other thing about this is that Dumas is a 4AD1 team, so they're punching up 2 divisions, and to continue to put ands onto this, they are notoriously unwelcoming to visitors. Demon Stadium is very difficult to play in. So I'm very interested to see how Bushland goes up there and handles this, because, again, look at 3A Division I, Region 1. We thought it was Brock going to run away.
Yes.
We obviously have questions about Brock, right? If that opens up, is Bushland next up? That's what's so interesting. How about tonight? 7 o'clock tonight in Far.
So jealous of Matthew.
Edinburgh Vela takes on PSJA North in one of the biggest games in the Rio Grande Valley in a minute. These are the 2 best teams in 5A in the RGV, in my opinion. These are the 2 best teams, certainly in 5A Division 1 in the RGV. And the winner of this game, I think, takes the mantle of the representative of the Rio Grande Valley. We've been talking all year about how we think that 5A Division 1 Region 4 is there for the taking. Edinburgh Vela has been spectacular all year long. Can they continue it against a sturdy PSJA North team that's going to run the ball and play great defense? Can PSJA North make a couple of throws? They're not a throwing team, but they are better at it. Alejandro Aparicio has to be great in this game. Massive atmosphere down there. This is the game of the week in the Valley. This is one of the biggest games in the state. And I'll tell you this. I mentioned this on Tep and Step. I think style points matter here. I think if Vela goes out there and crushes PSJA North, which there's a chance they do, if they do that, that's gonna turn heads not just in the Valley, but in like Longview.
Because I think that in my mind solidifies to everyone else that hasn't seen them play, hey, we're not just a good team for Valley standards. Yeah. We can compete with anyone in the state at our level right now.
Spot on. I think you're exactly right. How about 7 o'clock Friday night? I think a game flying on the radar somehow.
Yes.
7 o'clock Friday night in Stephenville. The number 1 team in 4A Division 1, the Stephenville Yellow Jackets, welcoming the number 5 team in 5A Division 2, the Wichita Falls Rider Raiders. Wichita Falls coming off their first loss of the year last week against Lubbock Cooper. I put absolutely no stock in that result because it was 17-14.
Yeah.
And by the way, they were punching up a division to 5A Division 1. And the other thing about them is that they've played each other 9 times in 4.5 years. Yeah. So it's like I don't like, they know each other so well. It's like we're reaching the point of like diminishing returns here on what we can learn about that. Now, I do want to see if this Wichita Falls Rider offense can get out of first gear, because they've kind of been stuck there offensively, kind of in that 28 to 30 range. They're going to need to score some points against Stephenville. Now, Stephenville's undefeated, okay? But Stephenville has been playing with fire, okay? At Midlothian Heritage Open, they won by 7. At Everman in the week 2, they had to win on the final play, 62-61. At Abilene Wiley last week, they won by a touchdown. They're playing with fire, and I have questions about their defense. Big questions. They're giving up like 46 points a game defensively, guys.
Which is not something we were saying last year.
No, their defense has been pretty poor. Also, from what I understand, quarterback Ryder Lambert has been nicked up, so we don't know if he's going to play in this game. A lot to find out in this one about the long-term projection of Stephenville, and can Ryder get their wheels back off after their first loss?
Yeah, I don't think that he has. I don't think Ryder Lambert has played since that Everman game. So that'll be interesting, because if they don't have him, that Wichita Falls Rider front is massive. Like, they always have big guys, but this year, I mean, they're beefed up.
By the way, next week, I'm just looking ahead. Next week, Stephenville and Brownwood. I mean, big rivalry game, obviously. Toasty. But, like,
that's good.
Keep an eye on that one. Anyway, 7:30 p.m. Friday night from Ganado. About to talk with their coach. The Ganado Indians take on the number 4 team in the number 4 team in 2A Division 1, the Shiner Comanches, in a district opener. Fascinating matchup here. We're going to talk with their head coach, Josh Irvin, coming up in a moment. They're off to a fantastic start. First 2-0 start, 4-0 start, I believe, since 2011. And first-year coach Josh Irvin has been at the helm of that. They're a team that has been very strong to start the year, thanks in large part to what has been a pretty spectacular defense. Their defense has been very strong to start the year. And, make no mistake, their offense has been very good as well, but their defense, I think, has really been what stood out. They're going to need to be great taking on Shiner and Dalton Brooks, who looks like they've shaken off that Week 1 loss to Hallisville pretty successfully. Mm-hmm. They look like they are looking the part of that state championship contender once again, but a huge District 15 2A Division I opener tonight between Shiner and Ganado. And finally, 7 o'clock Friday night in Wellington. The number 4 team in 2A Division II, the Wellington Skyrockets, welcome in the Panthers of Panhandle, another team that maybe you're not paying attention to, but at 4-0, you need to start. This team has been excellent offensively. Landon Hack, their quarterback, has been spectacular. But the difference this year in this Panhandle team is that they're actually playing some defense, which has kind of been their bugaboo the last couple of years. Yeah. Wellington's interesting. So by the way, this is a 2A Division I Panhandle against 2A Division II Wellington. Wellington's interesting because their offense is not much to write home about, but their defense has been excellent. This is a pure strength-on-strength matchup here, and a good test of how far the Panhandle defense has come. A lot to learn from this one, Wellington and Panhandle up there tomorrow night in Wellington. So there you go.
That one will either be pointsy or very low scoring. I don't think that there's a middle ground there.
I think you're right. If it's pointsy, Panhandle's got the big advantage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I just don't know if Wellington
can score enough to go back. It's not going to be a tennis match. It'll end up just being Panhandle going.
I don't know if they have the firepower to go back.
But yeah, it's either way. There's no middle ground.
Anyway, there it is. Your top 10 Texas high school football games of the week for Week 5.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.